Welcome back, my little recusants, to another brand new series on the channel. We are looking at Kingdom Hearts Final Mix on Steam. So this is going to be another 100% run, so strap in for a long owl series. And basically, as you'll see from the thumbnail, I am doing this as part of a fundraiser for Samaritans Ireland. Samaritans are the only charity group in Ireland offering emotional support 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to anyone who is in distress, lonely, struggling to cope, or feeling suicidal. The volunteers are working in Ireland and Northern Ireland and take over 1,500 calls absolutely every day. So my plan is to basically do 24 hours of a gaming marathon over the next week, upload them all to a playlist here on YouTube, and hopefully if you guys follow the link to my fundraiser in the description, donate whatever you are able. There's absolutely no pressure, but I think it would just be lovely to get some much needed fundraising done for this charity. I think they're absolutely amazing, and I hope that you guys can just show some support. I would really appreciate it. And as you can probably see, we have muted the opening cutscene. It is highly copyright protected, and yeah, so we have it muted. But the graphics are looking great. This game originally came out obviously way back in the early 2000s, so you know, seeing them brought up to the HD standard of today is pretty amazing. And basically, to give another shout out to TH Up Gaming, this game was my absolute first debut into YouTubing at all. So super duper excited to kind of get to play this game again. And as I say, have a 100% guide for this game, because this game has literally been the heart and soul of my childhood. I've played it so much, and just have such fond memories of the gameplay, the story, the music. All of it's absolutely amazing, so I do hope you guys really enjoy the journey we're about to go on. So just as well to say, because obviously for the fundraiser, an awful lot of people might say, oh, they're going to stream for 24 hours, and that was just a large undertaking that I maybe wouldn't have been able to do so necessarily. But what I do hope to do is basically play for 24 hours, and what I will spare you guys is I won't be showing absolutely everything of all the 24 hours, but again, this will be a guide. This will be helping you get all the achievements, so I'm going to basically try and show everything you can get in the game to the best of my ability, and make sure you don't miss out on anything. But I won't be keeping absolutely everything in, but we'll be also keeping a good track of the in-game timer, basically. But with that, we pick up with our main character, Sora, awakening to our stat selection screen. So much to do, so little time. Take your time, don't be afraid. The door is still shut. Now step forward, can you do it? But basically, this is a really handy little beginning tutorial, getting to grips on the controls, movement, jumping, all that jazz. But what you guys are going to see now is the stat selection screen, which basically has an impact on Sora's starting and final stats for the game. So the staff, which is what we're going to pick, that determines magic power and the maximum MP you are going to get for the game. On its extreme left, we have the shield that gives you more item slots for the game, and the sword is basically a balance between slightly extra item slots and a boost in strength as well. But when it comes to the magic system in this game, the staff has two main attributes it keeps track of. That is your ability point maximum in the beginning of the game and your MP maximum in the beginning of the game. And arguably MP and AP are the two most important stats in the game, because having more AP lets you have on more abilities, which means Sora can have better passive abilities, better active abilities, combo modifiers, things like that. And obviously MP, I enjoy a bit of magic in this game. The magic system is great, and well, it's just nice to have more MP because one, you can cast more spells because you have more gauges to work with, but as well as that, magic in this game is also, the damage is calculated by the maximum MP Sora has. So we're going to see the HP and MP bar in a second, but basically, just for some basic mathematics, if you imagine without the staff, we would only have 2 gauges on the blue bars, but since we picked the staff, we have 3. But if you imagine that basically if you cast the fire spell, it will basically do 5 times your max MP fire damage to an enemy. Whereas, obviously, only having 2, you'd be doing 10 fire damage, but having 3, you're doing 15 fire damage. And it even goes for amount healed. It even goes as far as other defensive or, status spells like stop. It's like the maximum MP makes the target stay stunned for longer, or allows the defensive barrier of arrow to stay up for longer. But the one trade-off of this build, which is where we take the staff but give up the sword, we have the most balanced build because we end up having 3 in everything. We have 3 AP, 3 NP, 3 strength, 3 defense. If you hop over to the TH It Up channel, we basically went with picking the staff and giving up the shield. So that meant we took 2 points of strength, 2 points out of defense, bringing that down to 1, but then increasing our strength by those 2 points, which means we have a starting strength of 5, basically. So, hence why we called that our glass cannon build, basically. And as I say, the opening section just goes through all the basic controls. We can run, we can jump, we can examine things, we can open chests with the examine button, we can pick up crates with the examine button. It's basically like our situation command. The Y button will morph into whatever it necessarily needs to be at that point in time. So we can push these different crates, we can also break them, and sometimes when you break stuff, you get items. And we can use the items from the item command in the menu there, just pressing our bumper, or not the analog stick, what would you call them? The bumpers, the directional bumpers. We'll just move down the menu there. And the funny thing is, you're able to lift the barrel, but you could have also just hit the barrel to break it away. But our first one gave us our weapon, so the dream rod that we have. What's interesting is that if you had to pick the dream sword, you would have been fighting with a sword, and similarly if you had to pick the dream shield, you would have been hitting things with a shield as well, which is quite funny. But what is super nice is that our companions throughout the future parts of the game, Donald and Goofy, they will actually get to wield the dream weapons later on once we do the extra little mini-game challenges to unlock them. But right now we'll see some old Final Fantasy X favourites, Waka and Tidus. What's up, boys? They're getting some cameo appearances here. And basically what we're going to want to do is select the bottom answer for all 3 of these different questions. And the reason for this is the speed at which we level up. So the top 3 answers mean you're going to level up really quickly for the first 50 levels, and then the slowest after that. The middle 3 is a balanced leveling up, and then the last 3 will lead you with your adventure begins with dead at night. The road won't be easy, but a rising sun awaits your journey's end. So cryptically from that, we can read it as the first 50 levels are going to be a chore, but to get to max level is going to be the least amount of experience needed. So with that in mind, what's going to happen, and you'll see your choices directly affect this particular battle. If we picked Dawn, if we picked the easiest level up for the first 50 levels, this particular fight would see us level up. Because we didn't, we're not going to level up at the end of this fight. So all these things that might seem really insignificant are actually like fundamentally altering how this game is going to feel. So we have the proud difficulty, which is like, you know, the enemies are going to hit harder, etc, etc. And then we've made it even more difficult by tailoring the experience growth to be easier later on in the game, which is obviously going to make the starting of any JRPG, which is when we're going to have the least amount of abilities, least amount of anything else, like the most challenging. But as you can see here, we ended up getting our 3s in everything. So 3 AP, 3 MP, 3 attack, 3 defense. And I suppose it's really nice for us to then be able to track the strength and defense versus AP, you know, growths once we get to level 100 and just see, okay, what additions did we get when compared to, you know, since we know that all the stats started off equal, how does it look by the end of the game? Like, what stat boosts do we get? And the one good thing about the way this game even treats its customization with those starting dream weapons is also the fact that your starting weapon impacts your starting stats, but also your level up list from level 1 to 100. So by 100, every Sora, no matter what their path or their dream weapon, they will all have the same abilities once they reach level 100. But the abilities they get and when are altered by your choices of dream weapon. So if you had to pick the sword, you would have been getting a lot of physical combo modifiers, you would have been getting a lot of, I suppose, critical pluses, things like that early. Whereas if you had have gotten the shield, you would have had maybe guard, leaf bracer, these kind of supportive defensive abilities. And with the magic background, you're going to be getting different combo modifiers and finishers to basically help knock things away or stun them. So one of our first combo modifiers will be stun impact. And I should say this, sorry, tip for people doing this boss. When you hit its head, this boss enemy's head, you get 2 extra experience points, which are going to be vital in getting us that level for the start here. And now what you're able to also do is if you time your attacks right, you're able to get another tech point for reflecting, and then another 2 tech points for hitting the head again. And so just work on your timing and you can get a ton of extra EXP for finishing this starter tutorial. If you want to really cheese it, and like sometimes I used to do that as like an own challenge for myself, if you actually don't jump up the arm during this like summoning shadow situation and you don't actually attack the head at all, you're able to basically kill shadows and not hurt the dark side to get like 1 experience point per defeated shadow. And then for every ball you're going to knock back, you can then maximize, you know, your EXP gain by only hitting him or only damaging dark side with the reflecting of these balls of light, or darkness. What am I saying? Balls of light. These balls of darkness, these energy balls, right? And so basically you can basically cheese it in a way that allows you to get the max amount of EXP possible, because when we get to the end there, we actually get to collect 3 at a time, which is just, again, a bunch more EXP. But after that, guys, we're basically going to be heading into a cutscene, and as you know from any of my playthroughs, I don't like talking over the cutscenes, so I'll let the next bit play, but we basically get an introduction to Sora, our main protagonist, his friends, and what they want to do with themselves for the next, I suppose, bit of the tutorial level. But that's basically been Combat 101, and we're going to be now diving into exploration and collectathoning. But the next world we're going to visit will definitely have more training for us in terms of different types of enemies and deflection and having tech points and stuff like that. But anyway, that's enough for me today. Hope you have a good one, and I'll chat to you at the next episode. Bye!
Whoa! Give me a break, Kyrie.
Sorry, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you snoozing down here.
No, this huge black thing swallowed me up. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't... Ow!
Are you still dreaming?
It wasn't a dream. Or was it? I don't know. What was that place? So bizarre.
Yeah, sure.
Say, Kyrie, what was your hometown like? You know, where you grew up?
I've told you before. I don't remember.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
You ever want to go back?
Well, I'm happy here.
Really?
But you know, I wouldn't mind going to see it.
I'd like to see it too. Along with any other worlds out there. I want to see them all.
So what are we waiting for?
Hey! Aren't you guys forgetting about me? So, I guess I'm the only one working on the raft.
Ah.
And you're just as lazy as he is.
So you know this. Okay, we'll finish it together. I'll race you.
Huh?
What? Are you kidding?
Ready? Go! Ha 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 ha!